Okay, welcome back. So it's still late April 64, and this video will take a look at the initial moves that I'll be making and sort of the result of that. Now we do have one house rule in the game, and that is there are no offensive actions on this first turn, and that'll basically give us a move to sort of put things the way they could have been without sort of being forced into exactly how things were late April 64. In actual history, the Battle of Wilderness didn't happen. I think started like May 4th. So this kind of corresponds, still pretty well by just kind of like waiting a turn before we start. Anyways, there's tons and tons of movement. I'm not going to go through every single move, but we'll talk about the general ideas. So I'm looking at Virginia from a strategic standpoint. Obviously, Richmond is really what's worth the most a lot, from the game. Um, Charlottesville is another strategic town, and then of course we have up here in the valley, which is going to be much harder to hold in the game than it was in history. So the general thing I'm going to do is this: I'm basically just going to give up the valley and send Breckinridge's division um, to Richmond. Um, in addition to that, we're going to kind of spread our core a little more, and so you can see there's tons and tons of movement here. But the general idea is that Lee will go to Richmond to actually take control of the defenses there. Um, we'll be left here um, in the county is both. Let's find it. It will be the Second Corps. Yeah, it will be the Second Corps will be left, and Longstreet's Corps, which is kind of at the Tennessee-Virginia border, will also arrive. We're going to send basically forces to Fredericksburg to defend there, and we're going to send Stewart's Cavalry Corps um, back one region to sort of defend from the rear and march to the Sounds of Gun. We're also going to split up our Petersburg force and start to dig in Henrico as well. And we've basically restructured the way the army is. So we're going to have a lot more corps commanders spread out. So AP Hill will go south, as will General Ewell. So kind of you can already see sort of here we're going a little bit away from history and sort of spreading out our forces a little bit more. Not necessarily a huge amount by the number of men being spread out, because we are first bringing Breckinridge, we're bringing forces in as well. But the way the game sort of works from a game mechanics, you really kind of need corps commanders spread out to defend. Since the game runs every 15 days, you can't in the middle of day 7 make a decision. So you got to basically have a structure there to handle that. In Wilmington, we have basically formed a division, and we're going to send a single regiment up here to kind of like get a little more information on hopefully what's in New Bern, or well, we can see New Bern, but we can't really see here what's in Beaufort. We're also going to be defending Charleston, so we are sending another general there. Here's the current Charleston garrison. It's not huge, as you can see. Same thing goes with Savannah. We're going to start to like form a force in Savannah. These forces are locked for, I think, 2 days, three more turns. Excuse me, 3 more turns. Now, in Georgia, things are very, very, very interesting. I'm really much more, I think, significantly restructuring what we're going to have here in Georgia. Basically, we're going to be left with 2 corps, Claiborne and Cheatham. So we're going to leave our best corps commanders here. And actually, they both actually have been promoted. And then we're going to send away our other corps commanders to basically come take up strategic positions down here in Alabama, or Johnston will actually go to basically kind of control the whole area from Atlanta. But this is basically a complete restructuring with new divisions and new corps commanders. We're going to be blowing the depot in Meridian. I don't think we have enough forces to defend it, and it can easily be isolated. However, we'll be trying to continue to defend across the river here. There's actually a depot here. You probably can't see it, but you can see it flashing. You can see it flashing there. We will definitely be going down to Mobile to raise forces to defend. I'm going to be sending Forrest. I'm going to be sending Forrest much closer over to Jackson to kind of get some more detection on what the Union actually has. What the Union actually has over here, and a bit of a feint. So hopefully by doing this, I'm hoping that maybe the Union won't actually be able to see what they kind of like as much as that we have back here on the initial turn. Now, I'm doing a bit of an interesting maneuver down here in Texas. We didn't really have any war supply, but there's a lot of VPs. There are a lot of VPs down here in Texas, and I'm not willing to just give up Texas, basically, which generates basically a significant amount of supply and and some other resources, including victory points in the game. So we are able to recruit rangers without any war supply. It's one of the few things you can get without any war supply. So I'm recruiting all my rangers here in Galveston. After basically purchasing railroads, we have just enough war supply to get a single 6-pound battery, which is here somewhere. There it is. Yep. Okay, so a single 6-pound battery. So we're going to be basically building up here in Galveston. There's a decent sized force here, very a little bit bigger than ours, but there are also other much larger forces over here. Now in Texas, of course, looks very, very big, and it is. However, boy, if you're on horse, you can move really, really, really fast through here. So in general, I'm hoping that we're actually going to be able to retake El Paso. This is going to be one of our objectives. And what we're going to do is we're going to send General Waddy and General Shelby down to Texas. Basically, once we get things sorted out down here in Houston, Galveston, Austin, hopefully we'll be able to take back Matagorda, and then we can move on El Paso, and then even further west to take Arizona, and then I'd love to move up and actually, sorry, here it is, and take take New Mexico here, and then I'd love to be able to move up and get to Denver and then some of the gold mines up here. I mean, that it's just really ambitious, but I think we got to at least do something on the offensive to try to keep them off balance. Now, the forces that are over here, it's like they're actually really hard to get to the east because we have basically we're cut off, through the Mississippi, and a lot of that's a swamp, so it's actually really, really difficult to get off. So we do have one sort of defending force here watching a bit Louisiana. I'm just going to essentially evacuate them out of Alexandria. However, I am going to leave Smith's force up here in Arkansas, just kind of like watching what is going on here in Little Rock. So no moves for Smith this turn. And Smith is really one of the few units that were not strategically restructuring or strategically moving this turn. Okay, I think that those are kind of like the moves at the very highest level. We have a couple ships we're going to send out to blockade run. And okay, well, so let's run the turn and see what happens. Okay, so we ran a turn, and let's see where we are. So we are playing with the veteran option of the game, which is basically where you don't necessarily know if your forces are going to move or not. So let's see if there are any huge surprises here. So we do have Longstreet has arrived, as you can see here, and then here's kind of like the overutilized second corps. So we'll be basically transferring some of those forces over to Longstreet. Same thing with Johnson's corps. Looks like we do have a decent Fredericksburg force here with the additional forces that I can be basically using to restructure. Stewart is here a region back, as you can see. And then here is Lee. Breckenridge arrived as well, and looks like we have one force arrived. The rest of these forces are looks like about a day away. Other than Thomas Legion, which I think we'll probably use to join possibly Stewart's force. Let's take a look here. We got a division, another division, and Hill, so that's good. And then same thing with Petersburg. Okay, so all of that is looking good. I don't think we had any actual movement down here. Other than that, we did a little bit. So you can see that there is there's a force with there's the North Carolina force. They've I don't know if they were there before and we couldn't see them, but we can definitely see them now, and they're dug in, as you can see there. I think we had some. We did have some forces arrive from Florida. There was like an artillery battery and a regiment down in Florida. Okay, on up to Tennessee. So wow, look at all that. Just a huge force. Interestingly, it's all Sherman is sort of controlling all of it. And we have our two divisions here, and everyone else basically spread out. Interesting. Looks like Wheeler didn't get very far. I sort of sent them him on down into Alabama. Yep. So it looks like our forces here are basically coming together. We did blow the depot here and destroy the rail, and then here is Forest. We can actually see what's here. It's about a half a division. So quite a few forces up here in Corinth. And our forces are basically on the way to Mobile, including a division which is a formed division which is very tiny, which is about 6 days away. Down in Texas, you can see here's the actual division that's actually formed now. The Tennessee Reaction Force has fired, and here's all of our forces basically gathering in Galveston. Looks like Waddy and Shelby made it. It's nice to see Shelby make it, so we can actually resupply up here in Dallas. Um, and same thing with Wadi, who just doesn't really need any supply, but Shelby definitely does. So those are pretty much all the moves. So no battles as expected. Let's take a look at the messages. Kind of a few descriptive events, sort of really from historical aspect that impact the game. The presidential election in the USA. I think we talked a little bit about that last term. Yep. So there's that. The third conscription app, the big hit for us, -10 on the national morale. It does get us 100 more conscripts, but conscripts. But you can see here, if you're kind of like, well, it's kind of detailed, but basically it extends the conscription limit from, well, down to 17, age of 17 and up to 50. So really a very, very, very wide range. Anderson Prison, Currency Reform Act kind of increases inflation. So some of these are desperate measures, by the CSA. A whole bunch of messages shown here, mainly so I'm not going to go through every single one of these. I did do a whole bunch of moves to requisition supplies, and so that's what some of these are. And it looks like we've received some forces as well. Okay, so that is the first turn. We could possibly have some battles next turn. So I will see you next time.